This is Saturday, March the 15th, and this is a morning weather briefing as we are on the verge of a significant severe weather event for Alabama in the Deep South. We finished with round one. Now we have round two. So let's go right to the radar. And we are live this morning at 8:39. And you can see we have showers and thunderstorms that are still lingering, the leftovers of round one over northeast Alabama. We've got loud thunder and heavy rain. In some spots, maybe some small hail in places like Scottsboro, Mentone, Valley Head, Fort Payne, Albertville, Gunnersville, Huntsville. We do note we've got a couple of flash flood warning polygons in effect. One for, actually, it's probably just one polygon here. It's for parts of Cullman, Morgan, Marshall, Madison, Jackson, and DeKalb counties. And that's for the heavier rain that has come down with round one. But the storms are not severe over northeast Alabama. But, of course, our attention is what's happening to the west. So this is the radar coming out of Jackson. And you can see that we've got a number of thunderstorms in progress along the Mississippi River south of Memphis. These storms then extend back down to Monroe, Louisiana. In fact, we've got tornado warning polygons in effect near or just east of Monroe. Looks like that thunderstorm near Monroe is now a little north of Interstate 20 that prompted the tornado warning. Other tornado warnings south of Interstate 20. And again, that's kind of a sign of the times. That's what we're going to be dealing with later today. But again, for now, most of Alabama, except for the northeastern counties of the state, are rain-free. So here we go. This is the upper trough. Uses that intense negative tilt it's taking. And when the trough goes negative tilt, that enhances the diffluence over the region, and that helps to increase updraft intensity. And this is the visible satellite view, and you can see that for a pretty good chunk of central and south Alabama, it's clear. And that's not good. It would be nice to be overcast and cool and cloudy, but that will certainly allow for a destabilization pretty quickly during the course of the day today. Here's the radar composite, puts all the radars together. And again, you can see the rain over northeast Alabama and the batch of thunderstorms to the west over West Tennessee, the Mississippi Delta down into North Louisiana. So it's pretty balmy to start the day. We've got mostly 60s. Mobile at 70. We'll be in the 70s statewide today. So as of right now, and again, 8:42 a.m., for Alabama, we've got a wind advisory for all 67 Alabama counties. Gradient winds, not related to storms, will be gusting up to 30, 35, maybe 40 miles an hour today, so windy. The counties in green, that is a flash flood watch in effect for the northern third of the state. This is for areas north of a line from near Kennedy to Jasper, Aniana, and Fort Payne. And again, you saw the flash flood warning earlier for parts of Cullman, Marshall, Madison, and Jackson counties up in northeast Alabama. So here's the big picture, and goodness gracious, it's a mess. In fact, let me go back to the southeastern view. There's a tornado watch, I should mention, for parts of North Mississippi, North Louisiana, and West Tennessee for the ongoing activity, not including any part of Alabama. And around the nation, wind advisories from the central Gulf Coast up to the Great Lakes, blizzard warnings for parts of Minnesota. Come on now. That's the action north and west of the surface low. And wind advisories for the Dakotas, Minnesota, and parts of Nebraska. Red flag warnings for parts of Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska for the wildfire danger there. So this is the severe weather outlook today. And the broad risk runs from the Gulf Coast up to Detroit, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. And again, we have a level 5 out of 5 high risk of severe storms over parts of Alabama and Mississippi, the counties in purple on that map. And again, these are relatively rare. The last time we had a level 5 out of 5 risk was March 25th, 2021. And with that event, we had 10 tornadoes. We had 3 long-track EF3s, and we had 6 fatalities on that day. So high risks are relatively rare. They typically, you see them here maybe once every 1 to 2 years. But again, it's been 4 years since we've had one. But understand, don't get too hung up in that high risk. The level 4 out of 5 risk runs almost to Nashville, down to the Gulf Coast, Panama City, Mobile, Gulf Shores, Biloxi, Gulfport. That's a very, very high-end threat, and we have an enhanced risk surrounding that. So And again, people are asking, where can I drive to get away from the storms? Well, to get away from this system, you got to be in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, or Miami. It's going to be hard to get away from it today and tonight. This is the probabilistic outlook for tornadoes. And first off, the hatched area. That means there's a chance of strong tornadoes. By definition, EF2 or higher. We believe, based on the forecast parameters, we could see a few strong violent tornadoes, EF4 type tornadoes, EF3, 4. Could there be an EF5 somewhere? Yes. Those are pretty rare. And long track as well. So again, it's going to be very, very important today to keep up with what's going on. In the high risk, the probability of a tornado within 25 miles of a given point is 30 to 44%. That's very high. Typically, the tornado probability is down in the 10 to 15% range on standard tornado days here. So that's obviously the greatest concern, and this is the probabilistic outlook for damaging wind. By definition, that's 58 miles per hour. And again, in the red, that would be 30 to 44%. And then tomorrow, the risk moves on to the east, over to the Atlantic coast from Tallahassee and Jacksonville up to Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Philadelphia. Now, here's a look at the rain for the next 7 days. Now, this will count the rain we see for a midweek system late Wednesday and Wednesday night, but a lot of this will be today and tonight. Additional rains in the 3 to 4 inch range over the Tennessee Valley. This is why we have a flash flood watch in effect for the northern third of the state. About 1 to 2 inches, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden. Under 1 inch for South Alabama. So this is the high-resolution HER model, valid this afternoon at 4 o'clock. And any storm you see on that chart there, that map, it could be severe with a tornado down. We'll look at the parameters. This is the surface-based instability, CAPE. CAPE is convective available potential energy. And again, the northwestern corner, it's pretty much over at that point for the shoals, but for the rest of the state, you got those CAPE values, mostly in the 1,000 to 2,000 joule per kilogram range, very sufficient for severe storms. And this is the significant tornado parameter. This is a composite index that just shows you where the better chance of tornadoes could be at this hour. Again, this is 4 o'clock, and those numbers are very elevated over the western half of the state, and those higher STP values will be progressing into East Alabama through the evening hours. But you've got, in some cases, the STP in excess of 10 units. And for a meaningful tornado day, we're typically looking for 2, 3, 4 units. So that's very elevated. And again, use this product with caution. This is the updraft helicity tracks, the maximum accumulated updraft helicity for the event. And I want to stress that we're not saying that tornadoes will touch down exactly in these places, but it just gives you an idea of where tornado potential will be maximized. And again, you can see some pretty intense values for the northwestern part of the state, parts of central Alabama. At the moment, we're not seeing a lot for the Gulf Coast. It could be the main issue for the Gulf Coast will be damaging wind. And again, this is a very dynamic system, and damaging straight line winds here might get up to 70, 80, 85, 90 miles an hour, like a tornado. So if you're in Mobile and Baldwin counties or in Dothan or Andalusia and you're thinking, well, goodness, that looks good for us. Well, the tornado threat could be lower there, but understand the damaging wind threat is very real, and you could see a few tornadoes as well. In terms of the timing, we're in a pretty good break right now. This is the break we expected. Round 1 is over. Round 2, one we're talking about here, begins, the window opens in West Alabama at 11 this morning. In about 2 hours, 11 to 9 p.m., 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. for West Alabama, the Shoals, Tuscaloosa, Fayette, Mobile. For the central part, Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, Greenville, 2 until 11 p.m. And then for east and southeast Alabama, the window between 4 p.m. and 2 a.m. And again, remember, in these windows, you could have storms with large hail, damaging wind, and tornadoes, and there could be a few violent long-track tornadoes involved as well. And again, we really want you to consider helping us. You can be part of a process that can save lives. I'm just a small cog, and you can be a cog in the process as well. But we need you, and again, if you watch this video to this point, then you pay attention to weather. We typically get people for about 30 seconds and they move on, and that's fine. That's the way it is. But a lot of people are just busy and they don't. Some people have no idea we have a dangerous weather situation today. But you might want to let your friends know that this is a dangerous situation. I don't use strong wording often. In fact, my main job in life, it seems like in recent years, has shifted to trying to put down hyperbole on social media about events that are routine. But occasionally we have to use strong wording, and this is one of those days. So let your friends know it's going to be a dangerous, severe weather setup today. And if you see them when we're in live coverage, if you see that they're in a polygon, call them, text them. You tell them you get to a safe place now. And by doing that, you can be a hero. You can really be a big part of this process. And we are so thankful for people that are willing to do that. So real quick, this is basically what happened with round one. It was hail. We are so thankful. We had one supercell storm that originated in near Rolling Fork, Mississippi, and it moved all the way across the state. It did produce a couple of tornadoes with very meaningful damage in Mississippi. It got into Marion and Franklin counties up in northwest Alabama, and it just weakened. And we're so thankful for that. And I've heard of no damage from wind, no damage from tornadoes, no tornadoes at all in Alabama with round one. But a lot of this, and really most of the hail was relatively small, generally under 1 inch in diameter. Remember, to be severe, you need hail to be 1 inch in diameter or greater. So it was mostly small hail, of course, vivid lightning lighting up the southern sky. But we really came through round one unscathed, and that's a very good thing. But again, we're looking to round two. And again, this is the visible satellite imagery. And again, notice we got a lot of sun over a pretty good chunk of central and south Alabama, which will lend to pretty rapid destabilization. Let's check the radar one more time before we go. And again, you're looking at a batch of severe storms over the Mississippi Delta region, Greenville, Mississippi, up toward Clarksdale, then down into northern Louisiana. And that's not moving eastward pretty rapidly. But typically what's going to happen, we could see a boundary from that activity being pushed into Alabama, a low-level boundary. And as we destabilize, storms could form along that boundary, and they could go severe pretty quickly. Late this morning through the afternoon and nighttime hours. And again, this is the action up in northeast Alabama. Still some thunder and lightning around Huntsville, over to Scottsboro, down to Mentone, Valley Head, Fort Payne, Rainsville, Collinsville, Lake Gunnersville, Albertville, Arab. And none of this is severe. And again, I know people argue, they say, yeah, it is severe. They think it's severe because of heavy rain or loud thunder or frequent lightning. That has nothing to do with severe criteria. The criteria, it's two things, and that's it. Hail 1 inch in diameter or larger, or 58 mile per hour winds or greater. And the storms in northeast Alabama are well below that. And again, they will be over soon. And we basically got this lull going on between now and late this morning when the second round begins. And again, one more quick note: when things happen, when we're on the air, like early this morning, my attention is focused on the live stream. I think we went on, on a continuous basis around 1:30 a.m. early this morning, and we stayed on continuously until about 5:30. Even though we didn't have any tornado warnings, we thought we'd just kind of stay on and walk people through it. And obviously, we'll be on the live stream a lot, pretty much continuously, late this morning, later this afternoon, and tonight. And once we get into the live coverage, I'm not able to do a lot of things. I'm not able to post individual posts on social media. I certainly can't do individual requests and answer private messages on social media. But I do thank you for sending in pictures and video. Boy, that helps. It's our window to the world. That's a godsend, where we can see what the weather is producing. We have a lot of cameras in the field, and we're going to have a lot today, but we don't have cameras everywhere. Nobody can. But everybody's got a phone. And by sending us images of safely of weather, that's very helpful. So thank you for that. But again, if you could just watch us on that live stream, we're trying to answer all your questions there. And again, when it's in the local market here, and most of the time it's going to be in the ABC 3340 YouTube channel and Facebook page. And on the YouTube channel, that's where you can watch that on Roku, Apple TV, whatever device you've got. And of course, they're also on the Facebook Live Facebook page, ABC 3340 Facebook page. But remember, many times when it's out of my TV market, I'm live on the James Spann YouTube channel. So the advice is to subscribe to both of them, ABC 3340 and James Spann's YouTube channel and Facebook page. And if you're watching this, you're obviously subscribed to one of them because we're simulcasting these on both. And that'll wrap it up this morning. We thank you for watching earlier, by the way. We had a huge audience, and we are thankful that you're willing to watch us this afternoon and tonight. And we'll get through this thing together. I know so many of you have weather anxiety, and this is a challenge, and it really is. It's a clinical type thing. And again, just if you can avoid the doom scrolling, a lot of people do that on social media. Just kind of avoid that and just maybe check in with us later this morning and just watch. We try to present critical information in kind of a calm, coherent fashion in a proper way, and I think you'll find that the case. So we're going to wrap up this Saturday morning update. If you're new here, I typically do these. Can you tell I just ate my breakfast? I should never do that. My wife sent some spaghetti, and it was outstanding. And, man, I sucked that down. It was good. But you never eat before you do these live things because at least I can't do that. But anyway, having said that, we typically do briefings twice a day, weekdays, once at about 5:45 a.m., once about 2:45 p.m., and weekends like this as necessary. So thank you for joining us. And again, we'll be up on the live stream as soon as we get the first warnings into West Alabama or extreme eastern Mississippi. So thanks for watching this update, and we will see you soon on that live stream for a very active severe weather day.